they say all men are created equal.
Shot! Master!
I'll pull out the Glock.
Full of suffering, succotash, son.
It's one of your nuts hanging out of your shorts.
Real glass!
You have a father, but your father's dead.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to an episode of the Too Sweet podcast, or should I say today, the One Sweet podcast, because as you can see, I'm all alone. This week we have a bit of a scheduling issue, so I'm going to be doing this week's episode alone. Unfortunately, both free, just on different days, and we both agreed that it would be better to have something rather than nothing, especially since this is the go home show for Forbidden Door. And we will be reviewing this pay-per-view, which is very exciting. We're going to be reviewing it on Monday. We missed Double or Nothing, which was tragic because I thought that pay-per-view was fantastic. And I was at Slam Dunk, so had to watch it the next day as well. So I'm looking forward to also watching it live this Sunday and, like I said, being reunited with Lucy and doing the review on Monday. So that's something to look forward to, and just getting back on track and getting back in the routine, because we don't like to, giving you something, giving you nothing, being inconsistent. That's not good for anyone. But yeah, today we're just going to get on with the review for Dynamite, which, spoilers, I absolutely fucking love this week's episode. I was so down on last week's episode. I was a bit negative, but I think for good reason. They pulled me back in, which they always do, like, especially for the pay-per-view season. I think this is like kind of like a slightly toxic cycle with AEW, is, it kind of seems to be a bit all over the place, and they just bring it back in last minute. You can say a lot about Tony Khan, but he knows how to do go-home shows, and he knows how to do a pay-per-view, and that's kind of what keeps AEW consistent, I think. So yeah, we're going to be doing a review of the episode, and then a little bit of topical news, and then the predictions for Forbidden Door. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. So to begin the show, we had an MJF segment. He came out, and I guess there isn't really that much for him to do. Hechicero, what else can we do that we haven't already shown? And I guess maybe there's some kind of like scheduling issue as to why I wasn't like able to come tonight. Who knows really? But yeah, not that I'm really complaining, because what more is there really to be done about that? It's like he says in his promos, he's just going to be fighting this guy, this random luchador. Again, I'm not discrediting. I'm sure he's a very prestigious luchador. I've said that in the past. But yeah, what more can we possibly do with this matchup? So yeah, he started off being like, "Hi guys, I'm here in New York," and then Daniel Garcia came out. I believe Buffalo, New York, is his actual hometown. Obviously, it's both of their home states, New York. My first thought was, God, they look similar. I don't know if this is like an intentional styling, but yeah, he looked like a little mini Max, which was quite cute. I did find him to be a bit whiny. I will say that I did find him to be a little bit, I don't know, it wasn't really working for me to start with, because yeah, he was just kind of going on about putting himself over, and I kind of felt like he was overselling his stock a little bit. And what I mean by that is, it felt like as though we've just randomly taken 5 steps forward with regards to Daniel Garcia's character, and it always feels like that. It's very like stop and start on the gas. And so when it comes to this segment, and he's here and he's talking to MJF, and he's like, "I'm at your level now, like in the past I was down here, but now I'm up here," and it's like this linear journey, but I don't feel like it has been a linear journey. I just, like, yeah, he's always been on the back burner, but I don't know, I just didn't find it super convincing. I don't know if that's just me being nitpicky. I'll hold my hands up. Maybe it is, but I've just found it very difficult with his character because it's not like he's someone that I can't engage with or someone that I can't invest myself in. But when it's so choppy, I'm like, is it worth me shacking up with you, getting invested in your character? I don't know, because like, what is the payoff going to be? So to start with, I was just like, okay. And then he went on to say that he's going to say nice things about MJF and went on to credit him for all of his backstage work and how him going out there and getting it and becoming the youngest world champion inspired Daniel Garcia. And it was a nice little interaction. Uh, and then Max went on to shield his match against Hechicero and his appearance at Collision. But another thing that I also thought, and I swear, like, I love this show. Like, I really genuinely did love this show. Sorry, it's starting off a little bit negative, but I just want to get my thoughts out. I I understand that it's the character of Max to be very blasé and and what he's saying is the truth. Like, it is just another guy that he's just gonna defeat, and it's just for the sakes of Tony Khan's dream matches. Just he just wants to put two action figures together, which is, I guess, the whole point of Forbidden Door. But when he's just like, oh, it's some guy who's a poorly drawn cartoon character that a kid's done, it's hard because what do we as the audience take from that? Because it's hard if he's discrediting him like that and obviously doesn't really give a fuck about the match. It's like, why should we? And I understand that's him as a character and also potentially him out of kayfabe. Maybe that's how he's feeling and he's just airing his grievances. I don't know. I don't want to, put words in his mouth. Maybe it is just all for the character of Max, but obviously he treads that line of kayfabe and his real life, he keeps it very thin. But it's like, because he's such a cool character and such a cool person, you as an audience member, whenever you watch Max, I feel like you're a bit of a sheep. It's like that meme, free thinkers when they see an MJF promo and then they're all like going in the tunnel. And yeah, I am definitely a sheep for Max because it's like when you see someone that has that much charisma, if they say something, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, he is just this guy, he's just a random luchador, which, like, you already think because you're not that invested, but then for him to air it out, it just properly drives that point home, and it just makes you think, oh yeah, this is a bit shit. So I don't know how to feel about that because again, like, he's speaking the truth, and also a secondary point, it's his character. His character's very blasé, and so I guess that kind of gave a bit of credit to what he was saying this promo when he was giving his respect to Daniel Garcia because he doesn't give it lightly. It takes a while to earn the respect of Max, and not everyone has it, so it has more weight to it. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know, because it is like he is going to go fight the guy, so I'm not saying he should necessarily be absolutely blowing smoke up his ass, but at the same time, it, because he's so cool and so charismatic, if he's saying this guy's a nobody and he's the cool baby face, then that just makes the Hechicero as I think he will be the heel during the match, just naturally because of Max being so over. It makes him not an intimidating bad guy or like a heel with like a badass heel who can like a badass luchador who's got a cool reputation in Mexico, which I'm sure he does have, and loads of prestige and loads of gold. Like I say, I'm not caught up with CMLL like that. I don't know it like that. Okay, me and CMLL we aren't like that, but I'm sure that he is, highly uh, prestigious, highly accredited in Mexico. But that isn't coming across, and it's just like a loser, and I feel like maybe they should have done more to build him up. Because yeah, it's going to be a throwaway match and it is just like I said, two action figures, but don't make that so obvious to us. And yeah, like I say, it's like he's the cool baby face, but what's the point of a match if it's so one-sided, I guess? Again, I've been holding my breath for a lot of matches at Forbidden Door, and this one in particular, I've been the most cynical of since its announcement. So we will see where we go from here, is all I can say. But it just kind of left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. And I was just like, is that really the way to go about this? Uh, so yeah. So then Max goes on to propose after his this exchange of respect, which it was a lot. It was a lot. And again, like I say, I'm like, does Daniel Garcia deserve that much respect? I know they have a lot of history. The title match that Daniel Garcia lost, and Daniel Garcia's been trying to claw to the top for so long, but because it's been so long and because it's been just on the back burner, it just, like I say, it just doesn't feel like what he's telling me is the truth when he's there and he's like, and I've gone through all this shit, but now I'm at the top. And I'm like, but I feel like you're still going through the shit. Like, I feel like you're kind of gaslighting yourself and us by being like, now I'm the man. Now I can take on MJF. Now I can win the gold. And it's not that I don't want him to move out the mid card. It's not that I don't want him to progress, but it's just like, don't tell me, show me. And I guess like he's been picking up wins, but I don't know. The booking for me just hasn't been working. It just hasn't been working. Um, but here, if this is like the commitment point, we're pulling the trigger now, and they've just decided, fuck it, let's just have him go out, say he's the man, and maybe he beats MJF next week, and then that catapults him. Then at least we're out of Daniel Garcia, bloody wrestler, sports entertainer, the battle of the duality of the two archetypes of Daniel Garcia. At least we're out of that purgatory, at least we're out of it. But yeah, it just felt like, I don't know. You're telling me one thing, but I don't know if I'm believing you. But yeah, after this whole exchange, Maxim proposes that, he's impressed him so much that perhaps we should have a match at All In. And when he was like building up, I was like, does it all in, does it all in, does it all in, does it all in. I was like, fuck, no, like I do not want that. And I was like, please God, no. Like, again, no discredit to Daniel Garcia, but I just do not think he is there at all. And like I said with Max, I wanted to see him in hot feuds, hot matches, hot angles. Like, I feel with the ratings discourse and just discourse around AEW in general, the last thing we should be doing is getting our top babyface, our top star, the one who has the most drawing power, and as I said last week, just watering him down. That's not to say I don't want Daniel Garcia to step up and push his career forward. That's not to say that I don't think Max shouldn't have matches every so often or have these sort of segments and build up other stars. But that really, I was like, oh no, oh girl, no, like I don't think I'm about that. But then Osprey came out and I popped. I was like, oh yeah, we're back to normality now. And he acknowledged Daniel Garcia's work and said that to get a shot at the title, uh, he can have that next Wednesday after Forbidden Door. There's been he's been chasing up that international title over the past few weeks, and definitely, yeah, I'm not going to be like, oh, that's just come out of nowhere. That, like, yeah, that's believable. Like, yeah, I think you do deserve that title shot, Daniel Garcia. But it was just the other parts of being like, and now I'm the man, and I was like, okay, okay. And I know wrestling is kind of one of those things of like, fake it till you make it in terms of promo and in terms of character, and no characters, it doesn't work for the majority of characters to go out there and be like really humble. Sometimes it works, but for the most part, it's all about that super ego, that I'm the fucking shit. And I get that, but yeah, anyway, just moving on because I feel like I've beaten that point to death. But yeah, and then interestingly enough, a little caveat of that, he said, and if I win the, well, it wasn't if I win the world title, it was, and I'll also put the world title on the line, assuming that he's going to win it on Sunday. And he did it in such a way that it almost sounded like it was like a spoiler for Sunday, like as though he was revealing to the audience the match outcome, like because it was that candid. Obviously, it could go either way Sunday. I do feel like as though it's not so certain that Osprey's gonna win. Before, like I did think that, but as time's gone on, I'm a bit more like, like I don't know. As you know, it's getting closer to, well, literally this episode, making the predictions. I'm like, is that really what I think is gonna happen? But yeah, I thought that was a nice little touch. And interestingly, in this segment, with the camera angle as well of panning in on Will and Daniel Garcia, and Daniel Garcia now setting his sights to the international title, Max was kind of shafted to the back and also shafted as being like the number one top guy because suddenly Will coming in and Will putting on the world title, which is potentially the most important prestigious title in AW, but also him being such a shiny new opponent, one of, you know, arguably on hotter form than MJF, like with more momentum. It was more of a low and more of an urgent, uh, more of an urgent assignment in that that title match will be next Wednesday. Whereas All In, if that match were to happen, which please God no, um, it would be in like August bank holiday, end of August. So clearly priorities of Will Ospreay, but it was a really nice touch that I really enjoyed that because you could just sort of see on the expression of Max his thoughts just ticking away as to just contemplating this and not only like I say the Daniel Garcia situation of been being upstaged, but also like him potentially losing his spot as a top guy, and also his outrage at Osprey, which I think I do have faith that that's where they're going. Like I don't think they are going to book Daniel Garcia, MJF for real, All In. Like that's just too much. But you know, I think that that's where they are naturally going. Is the resentment of Osprey being the top guy, and MJF being like, no. MJF's ego not being able to take that. So yeah, that's super interesting and Daniel Garcia being caught in the middle and so what started as like something a bit not meh, but a bit strange. Like I say, for me personally, I don't think it will be for everyone, but just for me personally, ended up being like, huh, that was really interesting. And you know, coming out of that, we've got some great potential storylines, and we've got the match on Wednesday booked. And it also helped to build Osprey Swerve because after that, Swerve was watching the segment on the TV, awkward wrestler watching TV stance with Nana, and was like, no, you're not, mate. You're not winning that title. You can't shoulder both titles. You can't carry the weight of both of them. So it did a lot. It did a lot. And yeah, I'm intrigued as to where it's gonna go because, like I said, I don't think they're necessarily going down the Daniel Garcia MJF route. Maybe it's like a fun little side quest along the way. But yeah, I mean, if they do book that for All In, then no hope, no hope. For our first match of the evening, we got members of the BCC minus Danielson, who was on commentary, versus Los Ignorables, and this is when I really started to have fun. And this is when I was like, huh, maybe, you know, I am excited for Forbidden Door because suddenly, you know, I've got like Naito, I've got Shingo, I've got Takahashi. Later on, we had loads of people, Ishii, Suzuki, Tanahashi. I was like, okay, okay, maybe Forbidden Door, you know. Maybe I fuck with that. Maybe I fuck with that. Uh, I'm just incredibly biased. They brought out, you know, the fucking bloody Mark favorites of New Japan. It's like, oh, yeah, maybe Forbidden Door isn't so bad, guys. You know, give it a chance. This is a lot of fun. Forbidden Door, we've got Shingo versus Danielson, and we got Naito versus Mox. And it was just great to see my boy Takahashi I don't know if you heard recently, but he posted about how he went to the urologist and he was told that he has nice balls. So what a guy. What a guy, you know. Mox ended up using a chair on Takahashi though. The match was great. You know, it was just a great little fun match. But like I said, it ended with Mox using a chair on Takahashi, which led to Naito arriving. Um very awkwardly, doing a slow striptease down the ramp. But he arrived late in general, and then comms tried to play it off by being like, he arrives on his own time. You know, like when does a wizard arrive? He arrives neither late nor early. Just exactly where he needs to be. That is, you know, he is the Gandalf of wrestling. And it just cracked me up because he was just taking his clothes off so slowly. He had about 100 layers on. I fucking love Naito. I just love him. What a guy. And then Mox comes down, just starts, just like, I had enough of this shit. And it just descended. Like I say, the match itself and plus beatdown. It was just great. I just love those guys and I love that blend of styles. The BCC in general have a very Japanese friendly style of wrestling. A lot of them, you know, have went to Japan, love that type of wrestling, credit it, studied it, so it just blends so nicely that sort of striking, grappling style with and Los Ignorables are very, you know, they've kind of got a bit of lucha as well as a strong style. So and they're just a party. They're just fun to fucking watch, you know. So and yeah, like I say, the post beatdown, Shingo descended on Yuta. Danielson came in like the protective parent and went to defend him, and then that was a nice little stare down. Because like I say, they're going to be opponents, but that is specifically going to be for the Owen Hart tournament. We're still in the quarterfinals, so yeah, I hate to say this word because something Reddit circle jerk, bloody squared circle jerk, like fucking. But I had fun, you know, and maybe it's just because I got to see and have a bias towards maybe, but I just thought it was a riot. Yeah, and we're getting two great matches out of that at Forbidden Door, and it just did what a go home show is supposed to do, which is simply make you want to buy the pay per view and make you excited for the matches at said pay per view, and it certainly achieved that for me. So yeah, and as well we have another match on the pre-show with Takashi, Yota Tsuji, and Titan. And they're against Mystico and Lucha Brothers because I don't know, Tony Khan has a fucking hard on for Mystico, man. He's trying to convince us he might be a prestigious luchador, okay, but he's always gonna be Sin Cara to me, guys. He's always gonna be Sin Cara. I don't have posy memories with Sin Cara, okay. Sorry, but yeah, it's nice that all of the LIJ guys are getting used. Forbidden Door was my point that I wanted to make, and like I said, very excited for the Owen Hart quarterfinal match. Excited for the Mox Naito match. Very excited for that. For the IWGP, I believe it is. So that's got a nice little stake to it as well. And like I said, the six man on the pre-show, which we're gonna discuss all those matches. Just give me a sec, just give me a sec. But ooh, then we cooked some more. We got Jay White versus Ray Phoenix, which I was excited from the moment it got announced. Big Jay White, fucking stan in the building right now. But this this was great. Uh, this was also, I should add, for the Owen Hart tournament, quarterfinals, and everyone was ejected at the start. But what I found interesting about this was like they made a big deal out of this. Like the ref made a big deal about it. I believe it was Rich Knox. Like, oh, I've had enough of your shenanigans. You've all got to go. But I was like, isn't that the whole point of the Owen Hart tournament? Like, I thought that that was a stipulation for those matches is no one's allowed to accompany anyway. So I don't understand why everyone was like, oh, I have to leave even though I'm carrying a chair, or oh, I can't stay. Like, but that's always been because it's always meant to be like a pure wrestling style to give credit to Owen Hart. So that just kind of confused me. I don't know, but yeah. So it was literally just Jay White and Ray Phoenix, Bang Bang Gang, Bullet Club Gold, and Alex Apprentice and Penta Lucha Bros. They had to leave. Pac wasn't there to support, sadly, but yeah, this was a really tight match. There wasn't really a lot of room to breathe, and I really appreciated the way they wrestled because it's like, yeah, it's a tournament and you would wrestle that style. Like, you just want to get through and win and defeat your opponent as quickly and efficiently as possible to get to the finals. And like, you're feeling a bit of pressure and a bit of stress. So, of course, you would wrestle in the way they were. It was very logical. And like I said, just really, really tight. Like, just there wasn't like any rest spots or any, um, like a lot of lockups. It was just offense, offense, offense. And yeah, the finish was lovely, I thought. At first there was a reversal of the Blade Runner uh, into a roll up onto Jay White from Ray Phoenix. And then later, like moments later, Jay White reversed Phoenix, who was sort of setting him up for some sort of suplex uh, into the Blade Runner. So I liked how it was like, fuck you, you're gonna reverse my Blade Runner, I'll reverse it back. And it was just nice. It was just a nice little match for the quarterfinals. Not, we didn't have loads of time, so and quarterfinals again, like it's not like a final match or even a semi-final match where it's going to be going for a long time and it's going to have rest periods and it's going to be like this I don't know how to describe this epic battle. It's just like they just understood the assignment. They understood it perfectly and just did what needed to be done very, very well. And neither one looked weak. It was just that, oh, Jay White just got the edge. And I was very happy Jay White won because I would have rioted had he not. I'm actually hoping he wins the whole thing. But we'll see, because, you know, the wild card, whoever that's going to be, that'll certainly play into it because, as was announced by commentary, if you look at the brackets, we've got Jeff. But don't count Jeff Jarrett out, okay? I don't give a fuck who this wild card is. Jeff Jarrett is Jeff Jarrett. If Jay White doesn't win, it should be Jeff Jarrett. And honestly, I fuck that wild card. I want to see Jeff Jarrett versus Jay White. Okay, I would much rather see that. I don't care who it is. Like, no one can be a bigger draw than Jeff Jarrett. Okay, but whoever wins that, which obviously will be the wild card, who will go on to face Jay White. So, and they were really pushing later on the EVPs that the wild card is under their sort of umbrella and they're going to bring the gold back into the fold of the elite when, well, not only the gold of the Owen Hart title, or is it a cup? Well, you get the cup, but then you also get a title. But now you also get a title shot. So I don't know whether they're going to do away with the title and whether it's just going to be the Owen Hart Cup, and then you get a title shot because that would make more sense and be less convoluted. But it is AW, and Tony Khan has also a hard on for belts, so I'm sure he'll fucking get one made anyway. But yeah, I'm like hesitant, but that should be a really tense matchup, I think, and I think I'll really enjoy it because I'll be really invested. Like it's real. It was real to me. Uh, so yeah, and then Christian Cage came out with his little entourage, his dinosaur, his son, and his beautiful, gorgeous girlfriend. And this was like it didn't give much, but it was just a fun little ending, I guess. he came down, but then didn't actually get into the ring. Jay White was trying to bait him in. But the numbers game and also Mama Wayne, Mama Wayne can throw down, okay, she can throw down, but we've got four dudes, like I say, a child, a dinosaur. Not that I'm counting the dinosaur, but a mum and a dad. Like it just wasn't the one. And like the intelligent father figure that he was, he backed off, but it just kind of put them on notice. And hey, I wouldn't be mad at that being something that we do going forward, which kind of gives a little bit of credence to me that maybe the wild card is someone from the patriarchy, because obviously they kind of have that alliance with the EVPs anyway, and then maybe that's just sort of to feed into it. Or Jay White loses at the Owen Hart tournament and it's someone completely different who's the wild card, and then we do the patriarchy storyline versus Bullet Club Gold, which I think could be fun. I think it could be a fun little thing. We did it with the Acclaimed. That was fun, maybe overran its course a little bit, but why not? Like, I'm torn because I just want Jay White to break out and be like the top star and main event Wembley and just fucking be the Chad. But then also, like, I do love Bullet Club Gold a lot. I love the Bang Bang Gang. I love the Guns. Love Juice has only just come back, and like even just they always seem to have fun in like their backstage segments. And I loved the recent Hey W interview. Always great. RJ is always great, but that one was fantastic. So if you haven't seen that one, uh, that the chaos of that episode, you definitely need to check it out. So I'm like in two minds. I'm like, fuck, like like I say, not everyone can be the top guy at once, and at least he's having fun, or at least it looks like he's having fun, and he's doing great work with the Guns and Juice. But then at the same time, like, oh, I don't know, it's a tough one. So I continue to hold my breath when it comes to Jay White, essentially. So as I touched upon, the books were at the back, and well, first and foremost, they said that the Acclaimed only got the win last week because they took advantage of Nicholas's anger when he was trying to hit them with the belts. Love the logic, love the gaslighting, keep it up. And yeah, then essentially, like I said, went on to say that Jack Perry's going to be the next TNT champion. Uh, they're gonna keep the belts. The Acclaim might qualify, but they're gonna ultimately be the title holders, and that the wild card will claim the Owen Hart title cup opportunity too. So yeah, we'll see, and it's nice that we're doing stuff that's not just Forbidden Door on the pay-per-view and keeping other things burning, because I think if we'd completely hollied everything, it would have really damaged the program even more so. And as much as I loved this week's episode, and I am actually excited for Forbidden Door in a way that I didn't realize that I was, I am thinking that maybe it's ran its course, and I am thinking that this one should be the last one. I don't necessarily think it is a forbidden door anymore. It's not like when it first started and it was like, oh my God, like, New Japan stars coming to mainstream American television. Like it it just doesn't have the same impact anymore. So maybe kind of reducing it down to just a special Dynamite, like we're getting Beach Break. I think it's not next week, but the week after, or maybe it is next Wednesday. Don't quote me. Just as I'm just as confused as MJF was when he was claiming that Forbidden Door on August 30th. But yeah, why not like just reduce it down and trial it like that? And maybe then it's gonna have less of a dictatorship on your product and your storylines and interfere with momentum of characters, which I do think they've tried their best to to not let it damage it so much. But if you are having to do that much preventative damage, is it worth it? You know? But I guess like fuck, like I am looking forward to it now, and I'm excited, and there's some really cool matchups. But even those cool matchups that I'm looking forward to, like Zack Sabre Jr. and Tanahashi and Naito and even like Mina Shirakawa has won me around, and I am intrigued, I'll say, about like the Hechicero. Just I'm just intrigued, and Stephanie. Uh, although those things haven't been built well, I'm still intrigued. I'm thinking like especially with regards to the other guys, it's like the same guys that we've seen the past few years running and that we'll see again next year. And even if they are in fresh matchups, it's like at what point does it become stale? Because if it's not stale now, it's in the process of becoming stale. And I think you always want to beat the curve, like you always want to stop it while it's becoming stale rather than it's stale, you know? Uh, so yeah, just my 2 cents on it. And then like I'm like, oh, but then am I like just being a cunt because like it is great wrestling and great matchups, and that's the whole point of it? And then am I just missing the point, like trying to overthink it too much? But I don't think I am. I think I'm right. So yeah. Anyway, the Acclaim came out and Okada interrupted him and said, "Scissor me, bitch," which was hilarious. Been over the Acclaimed, how I'm feeling about the Acclaimed. In the what a great segue about Stale, and essentially they were challenged by the EVPs uh, at Forbidden Door, but Daddy Ass says he has contacts and then plays a vignette of Tanahashi and then a promo of Tanahashi of like commentary over the vignette, and the Ace is coming to help them to take on the Elite. So that's really exciting. Like I say, Tanahashi, the new president of New Japan, and it's fucking Tanahashi. Like in past years, it's not been as the quality hasn't been as great as he once was, but it's still Tanahashi. He's still a legend, and he'll definitely add to that match. So yeah, yeah, not much else to say other than that. Um, then we got a little backstage segment of the newly named conglomeration, and we've got Kyle O'Reilly, Matt Briscoe, and Orange Cassidy. And Matt Briscoe does an absolute zinger of a promo, is the best way I can describe it. Just full force, just wacky, standard Matt Briscoe. I'm gonna whoop your ass, boy. Like it's great. It's contagious. It's high energy. It's fab, and Kyle O'Reilly imitates it. I'm loving Kyle at the minute, just doing his little random side quests. Like Pokemon Go, he picked up Adam Copeland. He's now with the conglomeration. Later on, Roddy's trying to fight over him. He's fighting Zack Sabre Jr. Like, he's just doing those random shit, but very well. Just yeah, they're great. I really they're just those characters though where they could work with anyone. Like Orange Cassidy, how many random factions and random groups and random teams does he like get involved in? But yeah, not much more to say. And then we had Tony Storm, Mina Shirakawa, and Mariah May, who, interesting enough, she came out through the tunnel to accompany Tony Storm, but didn't go the whole way to the ring. She came back to accompany Mina Shirakawa. She's got those tied loyalties of, her and Mina, they go back to Stardom. Uh, Tony's always been like her idol, and now kind of like she's her secretary type role for Tony Storm. So yeah, and like I said, at first I was just like, yeah, but it's really won me round the storyline. I think just the commitment of the girls and yeah, when they came out, Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May, that is, they did like this little synchronized dance that looked like something that you do when you're a kid and you wanted to have a sleepover, and you'd be like, "Look, we've made this dance. Can we have a sleepover?" Like that's what it was giving. But it was just camp, and it's shit but good because of the commitment, and I respect it. It has won me over. I will say that much. Because at first I was just like, this is just like kind of, even though Tony Storm is a crazy character and does crazy gimmicks, this is just kind of like a bit. It's just not what I want for the women's title or the women's champion to be doing, like crazy wacky storylines, but it works. I'll hold my hands up. It works, okay? And I'm excited to see where the match is going to go because the ending of this one. But this was a trios match against Saraya, Halle Cameron, and Anna Jay. And they came out under the Outcast banner, which they always have done, where even when it's just been Saraya and Halle Cameron. But then with Anna Jay now as well, I'm like, well, what was the point of like dissolving the Outcasts in a way when you've just made Outcast 2.0 and you're not even acknowledging that it's 2.0 because Ruby's kind of gone off and done her own thing, and then now she's out because she is pregnant with fellow wrestler, fellow co-worker, now husband, Angela Parker, and Tony Storm broke away and became Timeless Tony Storm. So, and then the Harley Camp thing, I've already touched on this. I felt like, they were building a bit of steam. And then to add Anna J, it's just like, okay, and then we're coming out to the Outcast banner. It's like, if we're going to do something new, let's have new music, let's have new, I don't care, come out to bloody Ronald, All My Life, your boyfriend's got a lot of songs. Come out to something else, a new name, just anything, because I just feel like it's really lazy. And if the whole point of putting Anna Jay in there and putting Harley Cameron in there is to be like, get them on TV and get them more exposure and be like, oh, look, they're new, they're now doing this new thing, but it doesn't feel new. It just feels like a step back for their characters, quite frankly. But yeah, so we got this matchup, and it was fun because of the character work of all these ladies. Anna J, I'm not too sure. Her whole character was she has a fat ass and a big attitude or whatever it was, which was just like, okay, like it can sell t-shirts, but okay, um, you've been there for so long, and that's what you've got to show for your tenure at AEW is just a bit. It's just I feel like you could have gotten yourself more over and done more, but again, I'm not going to go into too many tangents. But other than that, like the other girls' characters, I feel like are strong enough that it carried the match. Um, it was good, and Halle Cameron ended up taking the pin from Mina Shirakawa, which I thought was interesting that it wasn't Anna Jay. I feel like maybe that was intentional because if they are now this new trio, Outcast trio, then if Anna Jay took the pin, then that could have led us as the audience to question it and be like, "Ooh, are they? Is there going to be a bit of tension? Is she not good enough?" Because when there's a new person joining a faction or a team and then they lose, it creates tension, even if it's inadvertent or unintentional. Like we've kind of been trained as an audience to be like, "Ooh, like that's tea." So the fact that Halle Cameron took the pin, I was like, that's interesting. But probably nothing of note and nothing will come of that. But yeah, I just thought it was a note. So the trio of the Tony Storm, Mina, Shirakawa, and Mary, don't know why that is the hardest name for me to pronounce today. It's literally a month of the year. Estelle, pull it together. But they won, and in celebration, they decided to share a toast in typical Mina Shirakawa fashion. She's kind of I'm not completely familiar with her, but the vibe is I'm getting is like crazy party girl vibe is like the character, so it's fitting for the character. And just as they're about to share the toast, and Mariah May is like so ecstatic because her friends are getting along, while Tony Storm's back is turned, Mina picks up the bottle that the champagne was poured out of and goes to attack Tony Storm. Tony moves out the way and it strikes Mariah May. And this spot was really well executed, I thought. Um, the the way that Mina just hit Mariah with such a there was no hesitance there. And obviously it's not a real class ball, but and then the way Mariah took it, it looked brutal and it made me go, oh, it made me gasp, not only from the fact that, it was shocking that she missed Tony Stark and took out her friend Mariah, but also just how it looked. It looked great. So, hats off to the prop team. Hats off to, them for selling it because I thought it looked great. And yeah, Tony Storm was obviously fucking furious about this. How dare you? But I wonder what this is going to mean. Will Mariah May forgive Mina Shirakawa? Does that mean that she's going to be firmly on the side of Tony on Sunday? And obviously, it gives more ignition for Tony to hate Mina Shirakawa. She's a bad friend to you, Mariah, even if Mariah is like on Sunday still a bit torn. So it's totally won me round, and I'm actually looking forward to it on Sunday, which I did not think I would be saying that. So I love being proved wrong though, like genuinely. I love to talk shit. I love to hate. I love to be a cunt, but I love to be proven wrong. Because good wrestling and a good match and a good story is a good wrestling, a good match and a good story. And I'll take that any day of the week. So yeah. We'll see where that goes. And then after that, we got another oh shocker, we got another Money and Stephanie vignette. Who would have thought that would happen this week? Which is a real shame because there's always scheduling issues, but it's like you could have at least made one show, or I believe it was like Lucy was telling me the week that I didn't watch, it was a friend of Stephanie, right? Who fought Money. So they had something, but at least make one show, at least have Money come out to the ring and have Stephanie do like a full promo. I don't know, like just have something more. I still think this will be great, and I'm still intrigued because I know, just like in the case of Hechicero, that they are both athletically going to give it their all, and it will be a great match, but the build is something to be desired for. And you compare that to the absolute tomfoolery of the Tony Storm, Mina Shirakawa shit that's going on, but at least I'm hyped for that, in all of its silliness. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame, and again, it's well, I was gonna say it's losing the sheen like MJF, but she kind of lost the sheen a little bit anyway when she didn't wrestle for ages. Then got it back, I guess, with the Willow match at the pay-per-view, which was, as to be expected, very good, and then lost it again. So it's like, but yeah, it's for both titles, so there is a high stake there and should be interesting. But then we do get kind of a little bit of a follow-up on the situation because Monet is then shown in the back, and she said that she flew out to see Stephanie's title match, whereas Stephanie couldn't be asked to come here, which I was like, yeah, good point. And then she filled in the blanks because obviously none of us, well, I'm sure someone knew, or like all of you knew, like, oh, we knew this happened, we knew this happened. But essentially, during that match, Monet laid her out after and stood tall with the two titles. So, but it was nice for a simple imposter, a simple fake fan such as myself, a casual wrestling fan such as myself, to have that be fucking spoon fed to me. The older I get, the more I like to be condescended. Condescended. Anyways, next up we got a learning tree segment. They came out, all of them, Big Bill, Brian Keith, and Brian Keith was in the sling after collision where Shibata snapped the arm, and he just cut like a quick promo reiterating that the Jericho Vortex is to enhance the talent and look at Redwood and the Bad Apple and how far they've come. And they say that they have a partner to replace Brian Keith, so fuck you, Samoa Joe. And he also he shouted out the Wrestling Observer newsletter, which I popped for. Fucking brilliant. And so then, and I knew it must be Suzuki because I'm like, well, we've got the gang's all here, you know. We've got Tanahashi, Takashi, we've got fucking Ishii, we've got all of them. We've got all our Japanese friends, but we hadn't seen Murder Grandpa yet, so I knew it. I knew it was coming. Especially when he said, "Oh, we haven't seen it. Yeah, this is our first time watching it." So that was like, well, obviously they're gonna turn against you. Yeah. Cut to a video of Suzuki, and he's bless him. He looks so grandpa. He's like in his little fedora and his little top. Now that is a top AEW episode. If you have not seen the Suzuki RJ City one, I mean RJ City's in everyone, but you know what I mean. Oh my god, hilarious. Uh anyway, it's back on track. And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's nice of you to say that, but I don't want to fight beside you. I want to fight against you." And then it cuts to Jericho, who's like, and Bill, who's like mouth agape, like selling it so hard. And I love Big Bill so much. And I was wrong about Big Bill. Yeah, I was wrong about Big Bill. Like, I was like, meh, me. When he got put with Ricky Starks, I was like, okay, and clap if you care. But I adore him now. I think he's the full package, and you know, compare at underrated. I would argue he can do it all. I'm not saying, oh my god, Big Bill fucking put the title on him, main eventer, but as far as mid card goes, which we did a deep dive on the mid card in our first topical video for June. We'll be doing one next month, so please go and listen to that because we put a lot of work in to it, and it's very relevant to a lot of our thoughts and feelings at the minute with the landscape of wrestling and the mid card. But I do think he is a great mid carder, and I'm a big fan of Big Bill. So just the little things, he just sells at the little things. Um. So yeah, while they're processing the information that Suzuki's turned his back on him, uh, who comes out to gloat but Joe, Hook, and Shibata, and Shibata does like a little translation bit on his phone. Uh, she's like, "Oh, brother," and I love it. I spoke verbatim last week about how much I love the way they use Okada and obviously long form English monologue style promos don't really tend to work if you know it's not your first language, but the way which can often mean like it's hard for Japanese guys to get over, or Mexican guys, or Hispanic guys, or like any anyone whose second language is English. But I love the way they're doing it, like just that comedy style. It's just great. It's just fucking fabulous. And to this, Jericho launches the softest of blows to Joe, which then it just descends into mayhem and a beatdown. So that was that. And then we got a fantastic match. Oh my days. This, I honestly thought this was the main event. Then after I was like, why has it ended so quickly? Oh yeah, because this isn't the main event, but this should have been the main event. This is Zack Sabre Jr. versus Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly has got that affiliation to Orange Cassidy, who will be Zack Sabre Jr.'s opponent at Forbidden Door, in that he is now in the conglomeration. But I was like, we're getting this for free. Like this could have been a Forbidden Door match. Like, ooh, this was tasty. And Cassidy was on commentary. So you also had just like the hilarity of, I gave credit uh last week or the week before to Danielson being on the main event comms and how much energy he brings. It's the opposite with Cassidy with his just lackadaisical sort of vibe, but it was still fantastic and hilarious. And Roddy was in the crowd with Bennett and Taven and Gabe Kidd setting up for their match against the War Dogs on Rampage, I believe. And he was just like, "What can you say about him?" I was like, "I don't know." And he was like, "Kyle, cool guy." Loving the observations, very acute. So yeah, I was like, "Oh my god, we're getting this for free!" Like, and it was fantastic. Uh, like I said, at first thought it was the main event, so I was like, "Oh, this is great! We've got so much time for this, tasty." Um, just as to be expected, guys. Like, Kyle O'Reilly is quite a technical wrestler, but I think like what makes Kyle O'Reilly is his strikes and his heart that he wrestles with. And with Zack Sabre Jr., it's sort of like technicality, but cunty technicality. Like, oh, what a bastard, what a twat. But I love it, and it was just fabulous. Great combinations, great strikes. That little slap exchange that they had, which kind of led on to like the abrupt ending of Kyle O'Reilly tapping out to a cross arm breaker. And like I said, it kind of took me aback. Like, that was done fast, but it added that layer of realism, and like it didn't need to be. It was just a match to prove a point of Zack Sabre Jr. He's that bitch. And Orange Cassidy then came out to check on Kyle, as does Roddy, who pushed off Orange Cassidy and kind of asserted himself. Now, okay. So this was a really interesting proposition when the Undisputed Kingdom were in full force. And I remember when Kyle O'Reilly came back and I was like, this is so cool. Like, maybe like, because they're the Undisputed Kingdom, they could like wear down the psyche of Kyle O'Reilly, who's weak. And, he's got like a kind of like Don Callis style. Which we didn't really get much from that side note. We didn't really get much from that Don Callis Takeshita the ladder match. I mean, I know we had like some presence of like the conglomeration and stuff, but that was kind of thrown a bit to the side, I thought. But ADHD. Get back on track. My point is inside of a point, inside of a point, inside of a point. It's like a fucking Russian doll at this point. Oh my god, point. Anyways, this is why I need Lucy. So, as I was saying, the proposition of Kyle O'Reilly joining Roddy and being corrupted by him and having that trust in him as his friend, but not wanting to join because he knows the Undisputed Kingdom, one, isn't a draw, and two, like, is bad news. It was very interesting, but now I'm like, well, you stay away from him. Like, I don't want him going to the Jericho Vortex. It's the Undisputed Kingdom Vortex. Like, it's just not. It's intriguing in that, like, yeah, they have a long-term friendship, and then they've kind of been a bit like frenemies. They had some matchups together, and there's like definitely unresolved feelings there. I think like some angst, but at the same time, I'm like, so it's just not as interesting as it was. I wish they'd have pulled the trigger on it a bit earlier. But also, like, I'm happy where Kyle O'Reilly's ended up now, and I wouldn't want him, in hindsight, tying his boat to the sinking ship that was the Undisputed Kingdom. Looking back, when I was making these theories, it was when there was hope. Now it is Slipknot. All hope is gone. Like we ain't got no hope, no hope at all. So yeah, yeah. That was that really. That little caveat. I'm sure it'll paint something. And then Orange and Zack did a little face off. TMDK came in to support Zack, his little faction, and that he's part of. And then Ishii came out to support Orange, which is nice. They've got that long term friendship. And again, it was like, who else don't we have? Like, oh, we've seen Suzy. Oh, it's like a bingo card, New Japan bingo card. It's like, oh yeah, like there. It was like the party finally started this week, which was fucking awesome. But also, it's like, fuck me, could we not have gotten these guys out a bit soon? I understand scheduling's hard, visas are hard, um, payment is hard, and also you don't. Maybe I would have criticized them then, like even more being like, oh, there's too much focus on Forbidden Dawn, not enough focus on storylines. But I feel like they got a good balance this week of like they were still pushing forward AEW storylines while also bringing in the New Japan guys. But I don't know, like I wish that like we could have brought some of these people in a little bit earlier because yeah. Yeah, so and then we got onto our actual main event. This was a quickie though, only about 10 minutes if I remember rightly. It was Swerve and Will Ospreay who were going to be going against each other for the world title at Forbidden Door versus Gates of Agony. And This was interesting though, because they displayed some really great teamwork, and the whole point of these types of matches is the old WWE, will they coexist? Yeah, they will coexist actually quite fucking well. They are two sides of the same coin and they just want to win. Which is nice because sometimes in these matches they can overdo like the tension, and I guess that's fine if there's like a real blood feud there. But with Will and Ospreay, it feels like they kind of poked at the blood feud a little bit last week when Swerve wanted to get personal, but then he didn't really. Like, I thought he might have amped it up this week, but this match kind of interfered with that. So I guess like it's not, the hatred isn't strong enough to, Swerve could wait till he won the match to then lay Will Ospreay out. Like, he wasn't going to, like, he could coexist with him. So then that made it a little bit more interesting because it's less like cliche. Because usually in those types of matches they descend before the ending. Like, it's less common that they coexist throughout the whole match and win. You know, usually the distrust gets the better of them. But some great chemistry. Like, they would make a great tag team. Uh, but yeah, I really liked some moments of the teamwork. Like, I believe it's a complicated little segment, but it was a pump kick onto, like, Swerve onto their opponent, because Will had him up for like the poison rana, but then kind of lost him a little bit, managed to grab him quickly, was like, quick kick him. Swerve kicks him. Ospreay delivers the poison rana and then does an Oscutter. That wasn't what picked up the win. I don't believe that was a bit later, but it was just like a great little moment of the urge to win. It's the strongest of urges, and when they did, but Swerve was triggered. It's a go home show. We have to have some kind of dissension because Ospreay picked up both titles and Swerve repaid him with a beautiful little house call and laid him out. And that was it. That was the closing angle of the show. And uh, yeah, I mean, what can you really say of that? It's simple, and like I said, it's to be expected of those types of matches and those types of setups. It's to be expected, and it's always going to be a bit cliche, but I think they did their best to not make it too cliche. Like, they did try to bring it outside of the box a little bit. So credit to that. And yeah, like I said, like, I was so sure that Osprey was picking up the win, but I don't know. I don't know because I just don't know, and that's good. I don't want to know everything. I want to have options, and I want to have theories, and I want to get excited about the future. But I don't want to know. I don't want to know till I watch it on Sunday, at fucking 4 in the morning, uh, on my fifth Monster Energy drink. So yeah, I thought it was a great show. I was really high on it when I was watching it. I was like even considering giving it a 9. Um, but I'm gonna give it an 8.5 this week. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know. Maybe it's just me seeing people that I love, and I'm like, oh my god, there's Ishii. Oh my god, there's Suzuki. Oh my god, there's Tanahashi. Oh my god, there's Naito. Like, I don't know whether that's the tea, or I don't know. I just thought it was a great go home show, and every segment I was excited to watch the pit. I'm very easy to please when it comes to go home shows. Though, like, I'm not fussy. Like, just make me want to buy the pay-per-view and make me get excited. Like, that's literally all you have to do. Like, it's not a complex thing. But I don't think it was like absolutely flawless perfect. So, and I don't believe we've ever given a show a 9. Maybe we gave one show an 8.5 near the start of the year. But anyway, I'm going for an 8.5. So, woo, it was great, and yeah, can't wait to review it and yap about it all on Monday. So now we're just gonna get on to a little bit of topical news. Just a couple little pieces. First things first, a little bit late to this, but we record when we record, you know. Sadly, sadly can't drop everything. Sadly, this is not my full-time job. Cannot drop everything and be like, oh my God, update. But this was, well, actually just one day ago. It feels like it was a week ago, but Fightful put up a report on Ricky Starks. He has been off screen for quite some time. There's been a lot of speculation that that's because he wants to go to WWE. He has a lot of friends there, mainly Cody, Jade Cargill, and seems to always be creatively frustrated and have always felt that, it might be better used elsewhere. Which, I kind of look at that and I'm like, it's not even necessarily because I like Ricky Starks and like selfishly I want him to stay in AEW and I want to see him go against guys in AEW. I just don't think that he will stand out as much as he thinks he will in WWE, even in NXT. Like, I just don't. I think he might have a bit of an overestimation on his stocks, like Daniel Garcia, and I don't think he's polished enough. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe he does need to go to NXT, work with Shawn Michaels, work with the team down there, and maybe that would be a good thing. But I don't think he's just. I think my favorite Ricky Starks. I love Ricky Starks, right? And when we were doing the roster tier ranking, I remember that we wanted to put him in A, but we just couldn't, you know. Or maybe it was we wanted to put him in S. Surely not S. Anyway, we wanted to put him up higher, but we just couldn't because one, his booking, and two, like there is just something that just kind of holds him back a little bit. Uh, so my point being, having to clarify a lot of points today. My point being that that is the speculation that he's going to be, but I'm like, will that have as drastic of a change on his career as he potentially and a lot of other people thinks it will do? If it does, fucking more power to him. Fucking more power to him. If he can get more screen time, more match time, build up his character, more fucking power to him and get over with the crowd more than he is in AW. Mint. I'm happy for you, lad. But I think he's a small fish in a medium-sized pond in AW. And I don't know whether he'll stand out that much in the Fed. But anyways, the tea was that Sean Ross was breaking was, as I said, the speculation as to why he's been off screen. But another little thing that was put in this report is that Starks turned down pitches, and that Fightful clarified that this was accurate to some degree. And one of these pitches that he denied the possibility of working towards was the breakup of the tag team in which Starks would beat Big Bill. And that it would be like a storyline where Bill would be the heel and Starks would come out as a massive baby face. But what's interesting is he thought that that wouldn't benefit Bill in that him being beaten by Starks, and that was his reasoning allegedly as to turning down the storyline, which is really interesting because if that is true, and again, we take everything on the dirt sheets with a grain of salt, but if that is true, that's so interesting because a lot of guys, they said that don't work for me, brother. Like they don't want to lose, they don't want to weaken their character. It's not necessarily that they want to protect another character. So in a way, that's really interesting, and I can give respect to him for that because I'm like, that's nice that he's looking out for Bill and he's trying to protect Bill's character and protect his own character, and they were a great tag team. But at the same time, like unfortunately, even in a AW where it's kind of a free for all and you kind of have more control than other companies, you sometimes have to eat shit and you sometimes have to take some L's. And even saying no isn't going to stop it. It's just going to mean you're not going to be put on TV, as has probably been the case here. And I find it interesting because if he wants to go to WWE, do you think he is going to be able to turn around and be like, shout mate, I don't fancy doing that? No. He'll be out of that. Like, no, WWE is like so cut and paste, like black and white, like we're doing this is it. It is so hard to even get ideas through creative, even now, like even though Vince is gone, like because of its corporate nature, and I believe in some essences it's probably become more rigid with the writing and the rules, in that the script isn't being ripped up the night of. And as such, especially if you're a small fish, like if you've got leverage and you're like the fucking Rock, then yeah, you can move mountains, but you can turn around and be like, that don't work for me, brother. So if this is all true and he wants to go to WWE, but he's acting that type of way, I'm just like, I'm sucking my breath in because I don't know about that. Like that's a choice, you know? And I think in a perfect world, we'd all like to have control over everything. We'd all like to never do anything our boss tells us to do. But unfortunately, you have to. And you look at Swerve, who had to kind of work his way up to the top, but he always made he made almost like lemonade out of lemons, And it's like that old thing, which I feel like Ricky Starks was doing with the whole Big Bill thing and their tag team. It won me over. At first, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But then they won me over. Um, so yeah, because the alternative is this, where he's off screen. So yeah, and he kind of went on to clarify how the suspension angle, which kept him out of All In, was planned due to concerns of a fan reaction. Um, Starks not wanting to be in a tag team at that point. And also that he thought that last summer, i.e., All In, and the fallout of Punk getting fired was a real turning point for his booking. And I can see that because Collision was a place for him, House of Black, Jay White, these people who hadn't really, they kind of got a bit lost in the mix. And they were really able to carve out an identity on Collision. And Collision was better when CM Punk was running it, when there was a secondary creative figure who was taking charge, and also there was a separate pool of a soft brand split. Despite how toxic those conditions were, I think, the positives we take away from that is secondary creative and brand split. It worked beneficially. And as such, when Punk's influence went, the patronage of Punk, as though this was like, this is why I love wrestling, because it's like fucking, it's like medieval. Like, I'm a big medieval history fan, and it's like courts and it's like power plays, and I love this shit. Like, I love the toxic drama because it's so interesting to me how people get power, and how they leverage that, and how they like, oh, I just love it. I just, and how people like manipulate things. I'm not saying it's good, but it really intrigues me. Um, but yeah, I think, it definitely was a turning point for his booking, not having Punk in his corner. Maybe if he'd been shacked up with the books, maybe a different story. Which it's sad. And I do feel like as Ricky Starks has been underused, and yeah, I don't know. To me, it's a grey situation. I can see his point. I can see why he's feeling some type of way. But also, sometimes it's just like we just got to get on with it. And I feel like maybe he looks at Punk and the way he kind of went about things with his attitude, and almost like a little brother is like, I'm gonna get me some of that attitude. But it's like, you don't have the drawing power. And also, like, that's not a good way to conduct business. Like, CM Punk should not be like the gold star of how to conduct business. Um, clearly. So yeah, and also that he is medically clear, and there's conflicting information as to whether he's been in touch with Tony Khan or not. So yeah, and then there was just a little side note about an altercation in Calgary, which was a rumor that was made up. I don't want to give too much I don't want to give too much thought to it because to me, it's just the rumor mill that like I think these other things have more weight to them to being discussed, but just that there was in Calgary, someone started a rumor that there'd been an incident where there was involvement from law enforcement and that AW hushed it all up to protect Ricky Starks, which we don't, Fightful noted it's not out of the realm of possibility, but everyone's alleged it. Everyone alleged it. Everyone alleged to be involved denied it. So, but then they would if they're hushing it up, wouldn't they? But then again, that's. I feel like if something had happened, there'd be a little bit of smoke. Stuff in wrestling like that, it doesn't really fly under the radar that often, like without uh, someone talking, someone yapping on Twitter, which someone did, but then, what if it's a rumor? So, anyways, they just clarified that that seems to be a rumor and not to really have much uh not to really be that much of a player, a factor in why he's not about it at the minute. So yeah, that's just my thoughts surmised on Ricky Starks in general and those situations. And I hope that he can work things out creatively and he can come back to AW because I personally think that is what is best for everyone involved. But again, happy as always we prove wrong. And if he goes to NXT and he fucking blows up his stock and then he goes to WWE and he headlines WrestleMania. Fucking good for him. But for me, that's a big risk. I feel he's got quite cushy at AEW right now, even though he might not think so himself. So, but you gotta do what makes you happy. So we'll see. Also, about the AEW Collision and Dynamite show in Cardiff, is it? I can't remember what fucking day it is. A couple of weeks, a week before All In, the prices came out. Ticket prices. Me and Lucy, as we said, are not going because monies and fucking logistics. And the monies was proven right because the lowest price is currently at 140 British pounds, and the front row VIP is 760 pounds for just a regular TV show, which to me it's like are they kind of fleecing us because the American market's been quite saturated. They're having to give out six, in some instances, 6 for 1 bloody tickets for some of these events. They're not selling out arenas, and we are quite starved over here. But I think it's like in the same instance WWE is like maybe we're not as starved as they think we are. Like, don't get me wrong, I think people will pay supply demand if there isn't if there isn't that many wrestling shows happening here in general, and especially not that many AW shows. And I think they'll sell a lot of the tickets there. I do. It's a small arena, but is it almost like making up for the fact that they can't sell tickets in America, but then they're going to bleed this market dry as well? And the cost of living crisis here is like astronomical as it is in America as well, but in UK it's I can only speak for UK. It's pretty fucking bad, and people do not have that kind of disposable income. Um, or I think the people who are spending that kind of disposable income, who are on low incomes, will soon come to a point in the next few years where they will literally have to stop. Like it's like that bad. Um so yeah, let's get out and let's vote and let's try to make some policies, make some changements towards these types of things. But yeah, it's just extortion. I mean, 140 for nosebleeds, like you just can't justify that. And it's like me and Lucy say, like wrestling, it is the majority of wrestling fans are low income. They are, that kind of working class background across the world. It's not a highbrow entertainment. So those prices, it just that don't work for me, brother. That don't work for me, brother. But yeah, I can't help but look at that and feel like maybe as a European audience we're being taken advantage of a little bit. But I'll be interested to know if they do sell out, and if they don't, whether they'll change up their marketing techniques and sort of, and I don't know whether there's like some dynamic, some fucking fuck Ticketmaster, some stupid fucking Ticketmaster dynamic pricing bullshit going on there. But that don't work for me, brother. Like that's all I gotta say about that. Like, and I'm looking forward to watching it at home, and just watching a British show at home like will be enough for me. And yeah, it's just not ideal, is it? And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is something that's been talked about fucking ad nauseum, is the mysterious fucking TV deal, which this is a Meltzer report, so guys, take it with the grainiest of grainy salts. Meltzer just said that Tony Khan on the conference call today said about the new media deal that they are in the red zone, which I don't know why he chose the word of red zone, because to me that's bad, but headed to the goal line and were expected to score a touchdown. Apparently that's some kind of fucking Jaguar NFL reference. But yeah, I mean, this bloody touchdown's been coming for months now, so hopefully we get the streaming deal, we get it on Max, we get it somewhere, and people can shut up about TV ratings. But my God, were TV ratings low last week, guys? TV rating for Dynamite was 500K, I believe. Apparently it was an outlier week for the whole of television. I think NXT did one of its best numbers though, so and yeah, I mean I wasn't impressed with last week's show, so I'm like, yeah, fucking serves him right. Maybe that's why he's pulling out all the stops this week. He's panicking, but apparently Warner Brothers weren't upset about it. 500K, I believe, was the original intended number that they wanted Dynamite to be doing anyway. So they've been doing over for so long, but many things can be true. Like Warner Brothers aren't pissed off; they're not going to get cancelled. AW's not going to die, but it's still not good. Like, don't convince yourself that this is good. People with the ratings this cost, they go from one extreme to the other. It's like, oh my God, AW's gonna die, and then it's like, oh my God, no, AW's best thing ever. Like, this is great. Like, guys, we've got like no ratings. This is amazing. Like, there's a middle ground, right? Like, it's not good, but it's not going to die, but it is not good. Um, I'll be very interested to know what the ratings are this week because 500K is just astronomically bad, like horrific. Um, but yeah, that's our little newsy news wrap up, and now gonna move on to predictions. So predictions, which me doing this is just like it's hilarious because I'm terrible at predictions because I just predict what I want to happen. During uni, which is when me and Lucy met at the Wrestling Society, we had like a little tournament and belt predictions tournament and belt like an imitation of early days What Culture, and I don't think I ever won that belt once. Like I think I ever won it once because but my predictions are right, okay? Like even if they're wrong, they're right. So yeah, I'm just gonna just fucking enforce all my opinions on you now. And please let me know your predictions down below. And also your review of Dynamite and any other comments and reactions you have to just anything. Really, it's great to hear from you guys. Love it. It's like one of my favorite parts of doing this. So we'll just quickly run through the pre-show, which I always watch usually, especially when watching live, which I plan to. And we've got Willow Nightingale and Tam Nakano versus Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe. Um, cool. I don't know when this was announced, to be fair. Um, but cool. I am going to go with Stat because I don't think you have Willow get that moment of vengeance on a pre-show. Like that's just a bit cheap. Like I feel like the Chris and Willow storyline is it's great. It's got a bit of traction, so why give it up on a pre-show? Why have her take the win there? when not everyone's going to be watching. So I would hope, and thus I shall predict, that Statlander gets the win, possibly by cheating. Then we've got Mariah May versus Saraya, which is nice that Mariah's got a match. She's a great wrestler. And yeah, that's like a part of the story, and it's Saraya wants to get to Tony Storm. She can get to her through Mariah. Mariah's fighting the battles for Tony, and also Nishikawa and Tony Storm are fighting, so it just gives Mariah May something to do. Always going to be a fan of more women's matches, although two women's matches on the pre-show is a choice. I think we could have just had Willow versus Chris and just had that on its own in the main show, but that's a choice. Not said it's a good one, but it was a choice. I'm gonna go with Mariah May because why not? What does Saraya winning do, really? Saraya's just kind of like this floating entity where wins and losses I just feel like they have no impact. She won the belt at All In. What impact did that have, guys, on her aura? She neither loses aura nor gains aura. She has aura. I'm not saying she has no aura. She has a lot of aura, in my opinion. I still enjoy seeing her. Although maybe her in-ring work is a bit dated, I'd say. And I don't even think like it's her injury and things like that. I genuinely think she's just like a bit of a dated worker. Still a great worker, but she's never going to give you like them 7-star matches. Um, but Mariah May, I think, could do with it, give her character a bit of confidence, a bit of boost for the main event. Yeah, why not? So Mariah May. Then we've got Himuru Takahashi, Titan and Yota Tsuji versus Mystico, Penta, and Rey Phoenix. I think you give it to Penta and Phoenix and Mystico because those are your mainstays on your show. They're a part of your show, and also you have a hard on for Mystico. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this match. Just Lucha Central in it with LIG and then the team of Lucha Bros and Mystico. Should be a lot of fun, I think, and will definitely like get us buzzed up for the actual pay-per-view itself. So yeah, I think it just makes the most sense, and as such, I'm going for Mystico, Penta, and Rey to pick up the win. Okay, so then we are going to get on to the main card. And the first match is Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata versus Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and a partner. A partner. This to me should have been a pre-show. And I would have replaced this with just Chris and Willow because I feel like everything about all these guys at the minute has just been very low, just low on the card, like just a mark-off jobber. Doesn't mean that I actually quite enjoy the Learning Tree personally. Like it's a lot more fun to watch than what Jericho was doing previously, that's for sure. But with the whole Samoa Joe and Hook chasing up Tony Nese, and I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just not pay-per-view caliber. I feel like this surely has to be the bumper match between the main event, like the toilet break match, because otherwise, like, where else do you put it? And again, like, I do feel wrong, like, oh, put Hook and bloody Samoa Joe on the pre-show, like that does feel wrong, but it's just where I'm at with the characters, unfortunately. But I don't know, because I guess it depends on who the partner is. I don't really care who wins in this match because again, like talking of aura, like is this going to have any impact? I feel like it'd be nice for Hook and Samoa Joe and Shibata to win, and then they kind of move on and separate and do their own thing away from Chris Jericho. But I don't know. I feel like probably Jericho, Bill, and the partner, um, because I feel like that's surely gonna play into it. I currently have no clue who that partner will be. But yeah, I just clap if you care. It's not like, oh, there's a big stakes, if Samoa Joe and Hook win, it would be embarrassing for him to lose though, wouldn't it? But I'm gonna go with Chris Jericho, Hill, and the partner. Imagine it's Joe Hendry, guys. It won't be though, but imagine. Imagine if it's someone cool. Imagine it's like fucking someone random, like Tom Ziggler, Nick Nemeth. Oh my god. But it won't be. It won't be anyone cool. I can tell you that right now. Anyways, that's draining me talking about it. Look at me. I'm going paler. My voice is losing cadence and strength. I'm withering away. I'm going into the Jericho Vortex, guys. MJF versus Hedge Sarah. MJF's winning. Come on. I feel like this is the match I've probably commentated on the most the past few weeks, and y'all know my opinions on this. But yeah, it's just another body. It's going to be a good match. It's going to be fun. Max can make anyone look good in the ring with him. Not to say that Sarah doesn't have talent. Um, God, how many disclaimers have I had to say about fucking Hechicero? But yeah, it'll be great. But Max is winning. Then Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy. I want Orange to win. So I'm gonna go for Orange because I just think, like, yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. probably should win from like a technicality standpoint, and like he's the better wrestler and he can out wrestle Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy digs deep, but Zack Sabre Jr. like just with his cuntiness just like takes the win. But I think I'd just like to see Zack Sabre Jr. just be like, oh, just be like winded by being outmaneuvered by Orange Cassidy. And Orange is someone who we see more on TV. So naturally, I just want all the AEW guys to win. Um, but yeah, I think that'd just be a little bit more compelling for me personally. And it's not like this is like a 1 in 3. It's not like the Danielson thing where like we're gonna see another Danielson Zack Sabre Jr. match down the road, I think. But this is like a one and done, so why not give it to Orange? I feel like some people are gonna be like, oh no, what are you on about? But it's more fun. It's just more fun. And then we've got Okada, ja Okada, Matthew and Nicholas, the elites, versus Tanahashi, Max Caster, and Anthony Bowens of the Acclaimed. The EVPs have got to win. Again, this is just me. This is just my opinions because I'm just off the Acclaimed and I think they're stale as fuck. Also, they got the win last week, so yeah. And also, like, Okada should take the pin. Okada should pin Tanahashi, I think. Um, bold statements here. I think Tanahashi should have a great showing, and I'm looking forward to this purely just like I say. Tana, Okada, they've had great matches in the past. Um, and as still as the Acclaimed are as now, they are great in the ring still. Especially Anthony Bowens. He is definitely the better athlete, I believe. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I think Okada. See, I'm making specific bets right now. I should put a fucking bet on this. Does anyone here bet on wrestling? You know, it's something I've always considered doing. You know, just to add to more foolish decisions and poor financial decisions of my life. So yeah, then we got Danielson versus Shingo this isn't even a hard fucking name to pronounce. Shingo Takagi. Sorry, it's the Yorkshire accent. It's fucking bear with. I've got a speech impediment, guys. It's called being from Yorkshire. This is the Owen Hart Cup quarter-final match, and yeah, I think Danielson's winning. This is quite predictable for me, but I think it's really cool. Shingo's great, and I really enjoyed his reasoning as to why he's joining um the Owen Hart tournament and as to why he's stepping in and Danielson's influence, um, what Danielson's influence has had on him personally, and it's always great to see him in the ring. Danielson, that is. It's gonna be chests are gonna be lit up, strikes are gonna be hard. It'll be a great match. But Danielson will come out on top, I believe. Then we got Tony Storm versus Miyu Shirakawa for the AEW Women's Championship. Tony Storm's winning because it's for the championship, guys. But again, I think it's less so the championship and more so like the dynamic with Mariah May, like who gets custody of Mariah May, which I do think ultimately will be Tony Storm, but it'll be interesting to see whether there's some kind of significant wedge that is created during this match, which then enables us to move on to a Tony versus Mariah match. That's the more interesting factor in this, I think, and one that they've all three girls have built up really well. So yeah, Tony's gonna win, and it's gonna be a match full of shenanigans, but I'm looking forward to it. It's not often I look forward to a Tony Storm match as well, guys. Then we got the ladder match for the vacant TNT title. Entrants are Konosuke Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Jack Perry, Dante Martin, Leo Rush, and someone else. And an opponent. Um, I think I know who that opponent will be, but I don't really want to spoil it in case you guys haven't heard. But if it is this person, it will be a bit of fun. Um, yeah, I mean, I want Takeshita to win, but and I also want Jack Perry to win. I think it will be Jack Perry ultimately because I think he kind of needs it because yeah, he's had some momentum, but I feel like he's kind of fading out a bit because he hasn't really done anything of relevancy other than be the EVP's lapdog, which yeah, that's gotten him a bit of heat. But I think if he takes the win from like a baby face in this match, like Mark Briscoe, then yeah, I think we're cooking a bit because the EVPs and the Elite, as fun as it is, I think it's definitely not to be a ratings bro, but there are a lot of people tune out during their segments, and I think a lot of people think it's like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, like not moving. I don't want it as well to be like the Undisputed Kingdom where it just didn't really move forward. Like we had all these plans to take all the gold and then it just never fucking happened. So I think we need to have learned from that and hopefully we make those moves. But yeah, it's a little bit of a random lineup. I'm not gonna lie. Dante Martin, um, the wafer, the human wafer, and Leo Rush didn't even know he was still with the company. I mean, could you not have gotten better people? But yeah, athletically, it's gonna be fun, and it's a fucking ladder match. Who doesn't love a ladder match? I love a ladder match, so yeah, I think Jack Perry's gonna take the win there. Then we've got the TBS championship and the New Japan Women's Strong title. Stephanie versus Mercedes, and I think Mercedes picking up the win. Um, yeah, I mean, Smash just really hasn't had that much build other than the same fucking minute long video package that we've just seen over and over again. And yeah, I'm not super hyped for this. Like, I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued, but I'm not like super hyped. And why would Stephanie win? Like, she's barely fucking been here, so she's not going to take the title. Whereas, you know, Mercedes has been over to Japan and she has a presence in Japan anyway before she even came to AEW, so it would make sense that she'd have her second running of the New Japan Women's Strong title and the TBS title. Though I'm not sure how much of a fan I am of that stipulation because that's just going to take her Mercedes money even more away from AEW. And is that really a wise idea when she's been used so sparsely with such sparsity? That's not a real fucking word. You know what I mean? So sparsely, like, is that really the move? Then we've got a really tasty one next. We've got John Moxley versus Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Could go either way, man. It could go either way. It Could go either way. But I don't know. I don't know, because it's not like Mox is really doing much in AEW now. And I think both his character and New Japan always benefits when he does his little tenure and he's won his titles in the past and held belts in New Japan. Like, I think that's just like a mutually beneficial decision. But, you know, Naito's at the top of his game. He's kind of teetering towards the end of his career now. Do you really have him lay down to Mox? Or do you put a New Japan guy over to win the belt? So for that reason, I'm picking Naito, just because I just think that just makes more sense. Because I think the win against Naito, it, it it will have more weight to a younger, hungrier guy who wants to like prove himself. Not that Mox doesn't want to prove himself, but you know what I mean? Like I just think it should be kept for a New Japan, strictly New Japan pay-per-view. So I think Naito's gonna win. Super hyped for that. And then we got the main event. Well, not the main event. I always fucking say the main event because I just assume like, oh, world title is gonna be main event. Um, I think it will be the main event though, surely. This is a title for title. The AEW International Champion. This is Will Ospreay for the AEW World title. I might have just got that the wrong way around, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I've been talking alone for too long. I'm talking myself mad. I'm just gonna start morphing into Meltzer like the Scooby Doo fucking 2 movie where they start like drinking the potions and they start like turning. I'm just gonna turn to anyway. Shut up. Um, I don't know why because this is such an obvious one that it is going to be Osprey. And Lucy texted me as well because I was like, "Oh, Lucy, do you have any predictions?" Because she's busy literally tonight. So I was like, "Before you go out, do you have any predictions?" She's like, "I'm just going to say my obvious ones. Monet's going to win." Which also agreed, and Osprey's going to win, and those were Lucy's contributions. So woo, love that. But you know what? I don't know because I thought the obvious choice was put it on Osprey and then maybe move towards Max versus Osprey at All In. And then because of the Daniel Garcia stuff, and then that's happening on Wednesday, and then, but then, maybe start that build, but then I don't know, like, it's so hard because I feel like it is obvious, but I feel like it's not at the same time because I don't know whether I am ready for Swerve's title, like, reign to end because I think Swerve I haven't really loved the reign again. Like he was a chasing babyface, and then he won it, and then that's always going to have a little bit of a drop in momentum. But at the same time, like I feel like last week he was giving hints of like that hungry, like depraved. Like he can go to depraved places. He can become deprived, is what I'm trying to say. He can have that sort of edge to his character, and he hasn't really had that like edgy feud yet. And he hasn't like shown how far he'll be willing to go for that belt yet. And I feel like that's the next gear. And I feel like there's still longevity in his reign if they wanted to go there. But then it's like, I guess it's like, will the crowd follow him with that when the crowd is hotter for Osprey, the crowd is hotter for Max? I don't know. I don't know. Oh my God. I'm gonna go Swerve just because I like to be different. I like to be different. Um, but I can appreciate that it probably will be Osprey. But I think I don't know. Like if his reign does end Sunday, I'm not mad because I don't think it's his last reign. I think it was his first reign. He was hungry for that title, and I think it gives a great story going forward if he wants to win the belt again. Like I couldn't hold it for that long. I was too nice. And then we go back to heel Swerve, which is where he's better. But then, or do you save Osprey winning the title at Wembley when he'll get that big pop? Because if he's champion walking in at Wembley, then yeah, we'll all cheer him because England. But like, I'm going Swerve, man. I think it's the better choice. So I'm going for Swerve. I'm betting on my boy. But yeah, I'm pretty looking forward to Sunday. I'm not gonna lie, I'm on the hype train. So roll on Sunday. Snacks will be bought, monsters will be drunk, and I will be marking out in my room at 3 a.m. So fucking roll on, let's go, and leave me a comment. I'm very fucking lonely. Boost my ego. Tell me that this is good. Leave a like, and yeah, predictions. Would love to know, especially for like the obvious shit. We know the obvious shit, but maybe this is an obvious one, so maybe I'll shut the fuck up. But let me know. And we'll be back pretty soon. Monday, mark it on your calendar. Well, it will be out. Well, it might be out Monday night. Tuesday, it'll definitely be out. But yeah, early next week, we'll be out with the Forbidden Door review and giving all of our thoughts. And Lucy will be with me as well. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it and see you later. See you on Monday. Enjoy the show.
I must bid you adieu, goodbye, and good night.
I wish you died in the womb!